Subscribe to both of my YouTube channels, Sharon Winbush and Goddess Sharon. Turn on notifications and share all videos globally. Thank you. I actually was sad when I heard the news that Kevin Samuels had passed away. I was not a fan of his show. I did not watch his shows because I did not agree with his perspective. But I did not dislike him. I certainly saw the value that he was adding to the conversation. What struck me, I think, most significant about his passing is the thing that he predominantly said happened to him. He died alone with a one-night stand that he didn't even know 12 hours, dropped dead on top of this person, probably with Viagra and Cialis in his system, in a rental apartment. So this self-proclaimed high-value man did not own a house, did not have a wife and kids, did not have the fairy tale that he was basically telling people they could have if they would just listen to him. So and I don't say that with any malice or anything, it's just an observation. Someone who proclaimed to know things, in my opinion, it didn't turn out that way. And death usually always reveals things that you wouldn't otherwise know. It said that he met the female that night, obviously brought her to his apartment. They had sex, and by the fact that he woke up the next morning and tried to have sex again, which is why he was on top of her, says to me that he probably had Cialis or Viagra in his system as a 57-year-old man. And nothing wrong with that. There's no shade there. But someone who appears to be physically healthy, on the inside, he was not healthy on every level from my vantage point. And I'm talking nutritionally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. It is a loss. I certainly was shocked and then saddened when I heard the news. But then as a intellectual, I start to think about things from an intellectual vantage point. And because there's so much conversation around it, what exactly does that mean? And the irony is what just kept hitting me. He was found with a one-night stand on top of the female, probably 20 years younger than him, who he picked up probably in a restaurant or a bar last night. So he died alone, because you don't know someone after meeting them 12 hours. He vibrated and put into the universe, often you are going to die alone. And essentially that is what happened to him. To die with a one-night stand on top of her, and you're in cardiac arrest, and that's your final moment in life. It's sad, but the irony is I don't see how he was the pinnacle of what he professed, because he was renting an apartment on the 16th floor, so you didn't even have the penthouse. You didn't have a wife, you didn't have a fiance, you didn't have a steady girl. You're picking up some chick for a one-night stand, and that's how you take your last breath. His life, his choice. But people have to, you challenge people who are giving you information, and you should always think for yourself and be your own judge and jury, because even though someone is well groomed, he's a handsome man, very physically fit on the outside, dressed impeccable, always had the aesthetics, uh, tight. He had the scents, he had the candles, he had the lighting, he had the music. He had all the accoutrements of the external picture perfect life. But the internal life was not together, from the health to the emotions to the spirituality. Because if your health was right, you don't have a massive heart attack. So he wasn't eating properly, and you wouldn't have died with a one-night stand. So you didn't have a loving, committed relationship, even though that's what you've been talking about on YouTube for however long he's been out here. So it's a sad situation. I want to talk about the health aspect of it, though, so I'm going to address that. But the irony of a 57-year-old man living in an apartment with a one-night stand, dropping dead on top of her, calling himself a high-value man. It's just ironic. No shade, just ironic. I think Kevin Samuels is the epitome of someone who has the external trappings, but the internal was not in place. The aesthetics were spot on. He wore immaculate suits, tailored, obviously. Nice glasses. He's a handsome man. He appeared to be in great physical shape. He always had a nice ambiance whenever he recorded. The candles, the music, the background. He did what he does at the highest level, and he is to be commended for that. What I want to zero in on is the inside, because the external is what the vast majority of people focus on. They want to make sure they look good. They want the hair weaves and the breast implants and the fake butts and suck the fat out of the waist and get the dress and the shoes and the earrings and the suits and the shoes and the haircuts and the car. And we focus on all of these external trappings, but the inside game is not tight. So this is just a teachable moment as far as I'm concerned, because a heart attack is so easy to avoid. Even if you are on sexual stimulants like Cialis and Viagra, which obviously at 56, 57, he's on, because once men get over the age of 40, erectile dysfunction is just in the cards because of diet and exercise. And even if someone looks physically fit, it doesn't mean that they're eating properly. So to drop dead of a massive heart attack is just completely avoidable. Now, we'll see if he had any other substances in his system. Of course, all types of speculation is going on now, but I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is he appeared to be perfectly healthy. He seemed to be in great shape physically, externally. But a massive heart attack is something that occurs when there is obstruction to the blood, in the blood flow. That's the only way that you can have a heart attack. There's obstruction in the blood flow. So that's caused by too much fat. The viscosity of the blood should be the consistency of water and not milkshake or something thick. The thicker the blood, the harder it is to pump for the heart. And then all it takes is an embolism, which is a coagulation of fat, to obstruct one of the arteries, and then you have a massive heart attack. But the arteries are huge. They're big vessels. They are the largest vessels in the body, in the human body. because you have vessels that lead to the heart and away from the heart so that blood can circulate. The heart is a 5-pound pump that sits in the center of your chest, and its job is just to pump. And blood should be the consistency of water. That's what the heart was built for. So as the viscosity of the blood changes with diet and lifestyle, so does the workload of the heart. And the more you put on it with the alcohol, the drugs that are trying to push blood through the system, even though there's a lot of fat there, it's easy to have a heart attack when you use stimulants like Cialis and Viagra, because you're not dealing with the consistency naturally. You're using an artificial method to force a pump to pump blood, and you're putting pressure. So the more times you do that, it's going to break down the system. And their heart attacks are so easy to avoid. It's just a matter of detoxing the body, cleaning the body out. I wish he would have done my 30-day cleanse, because he absolutely would still be here. So it's sad all the way around on so many levels, because he is the epitome of a man who externally looks like he has it all together, but internally it was not together. From the diet to the emotions to the spirituality, and all of that is concluded with him dropping dead on top of a one-night stand of a massive heart attack. Someone he didn't even know for 12 hours in an apartment. So I don't know that I would call that a high-value man. But he was popular. A lot of people liked him. I didn't dislike him. I didn't like him. If I don't like what you're teaching, I just tune you out and don't watch. So I really did not watch his program at all, because the few times I did watch, I personally did not care for what he was saying and how he was speaking to women and about women. So it just wasn't my cup of tea. But I didn't speak against him, and I didn't dislike him. I don't mind people having a different point of view than I do. And I just leave them in their space to do what they do, because obviously 1.4 million wanted to tune in enough. Whether they liked him or disliked him, they subscribed and tuned in. And so he activated 1.4 million people. That says he was ruffling some feathers, positively and negatively. And I think that's a good thing. It shows that he was a rising star. And I think for me that was the saddest part. His star was on the rise. He was just getting started. His life was about to really be in full bloom. And right at the apex of that, he drops dead. It's sad. It's sad, and I'm saddened by it. And I'm sad that his story had to end that way. But I do see the irony of his life, and I certainly see the energy that he put out. Energy is circular. People don't realize that. It's circular. When you put energy out, it's going to come back to you. And what he was vibrating to the universe was dying alone. I can't tell you how many times he said that. You're going to die alone. And that's the vibration. That is the frequency that he emitted very often. So energy being circular, it's just law of attraction. You draw to you what you put out. And that's not he deserved it. It's energy is non-biased. It's it's like electricity. Whatever you put into the socket, that's what you get out. Whatever voltage, whatever wattage, whatever It's just, it is what it is. It's science. So I am sad that he passed, even though I was not a fan of his. I like seeing people do well, whether I agree with what they do or not. I like to see people thrive and just do what they do at the highest level, and he was doing that. So it is a loss, and it is a sad news. And for those that really liked him and swore by his work, he has plenty of videos for you to live on and relish from now to now on, because I'm sure his page will stay up.
And you can't keep these men. Women can't, dudes with just confidence. Confidence don't pay the motherfucking mortgage. Okay? So, again, late great Patrice O'Neal, you don't go to a fish and ask it how to catch fish. You got to go to a fisherman. We fish. Confidence and broke ain't a good look. What you confident in? Oh, Lord have mercy, Jesus. I'm glad that wasn't on screen. That was not good. All right, so anywho, the subject of the day is modern women are a party of one. That's what we're talking about. Modern women are a party of one. Before we get started, the candle of the evening is from Diptyque, and it is called Coriander. Coriander is the fragrance. The candle of the evening, and the fragrance is probably one of the best fragrances in the freaking world. This one right here is a show no panty dropper, get the draws kind of. The harmonious hypnotizing fire will cause any woman in a 50-mile radius to begin immediately ovulating. Yes, they should call this ovulation bomb. You walk by a woman wearing this, and she's probably going to spontaneously get like 6 months pregnant. Yeah, so use it at your own discretion.